Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Thursday, December 19th, 2024. How you doing today, Dad?
Good, man. So we're that time of year. It's almost Christmas, buddy.
Yeah. As you can tell, he gets pretty excited. We both do. We big fans of the Christmas season, our whole family. Very excited this year, especially. My sister and my brother-in-law are coming out. They are, of course, already met the baby that we have, but they're coming out to see her again, and they're going to be here for Christmas. And then right after Christmas or day of Christmas, my aunt and my two cousins are going to be coming out. Very excited for that as well. It's first Christmas we'll see them for,
Years.
I haven't spent a Christmas with them in years.
Yeah.
Ever since 2020 COVID. I didn't know.
Yeah,
we didn't spend. That was during COVID, so we didn't do it. But yeah, no, we're very excited for the Christmas season. Especially excited for the Eagles football games coming around the season. Coming up on Sunday, we're going to be playing the Washington Commanders in Washington. So our last away game of the season, hopefully until the Super Bowl.
That's right.
If we can get that number one seed locked up, of course. Going for a division clinching win this week. If we win the game, we do clinch the division, which would be, nice little notch, little check mark you like to have.
That's right.
But it's not the ultimate goal, of course, but it's a nice little thing to have. And I always like buying a division shirt and everything like that. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah. I always like it. Interestingly enough, the first thing that really kind of came to my mind, I thought of this the other day, it's our first rematch of the season. You know what I mean? So it's the first time we're playing a division opponent for the second time this year.
Usually you got somebody's out of the way already.
I was going to say, like the Commanders, I'm pretty sure they played the Giants twice before they even played us. Yeah. I might be completely wrong on that, but they played the Giants, very early both times. So it is weird to kind of have this late of a rematch. Let me see. Yeah, they played the Giants two times before they even played us. So
it's funny how for us, our team, it seems like the last few years we have definitely had, the last 2 or 3 games are against division foes. Of course. Some of the other teams, obviously, it doesn't do the same thing. But
yeah. And it tends to make sense to do that because you might be fighting for the division still at the end, and technically, our division is still up for grabs, so it makes sense to have this type of games later in the season so that things can happen. But let's just not let things happen. Let's just push on through. Before we get into the full breakdown, let's go ahead and give a shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles fan club in Colorado Springs. They're going to be watching the game at Rhinos on Sunday. We're kind of hoping to be there. My sister and my brother-in-law will be here, and we're hoping to be there, depending on my wife's working or not. See if I have the baby.
Right.
And then hopefully even the next week when my aunt is in town, hopefully we can go to the bar again and
that'll be a late game next week.
Be a late game. Hopefully they can be there for be here for the Cowboys game and kind of see what it's like to be at the bar. They haven't gotten to go to that ever, but shout out to you guys as always, and a shout out to our family who's coming to town. We're very excited.
Oh yeah.
All right, so the Eagles, like we said, playing the Commanders in Washington Sunday at 11 o'clock. Good to have an 11 o'clock game, right, Dad? I
agree. Yeah, it just seems like this season's been up and down every week. Here late. I'm not crazy about the late games. We say it every week. So, yeah, I'm glad it's an 11 o'clock game.
Definitely. In Washington, a big deal. 1 o'clock game back east for those back in Philly. And, Dad, you have a weather report for Washington?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be super cold this week. They're talking about the highs maybe not even getting into the 30s. So
wow. You're
talking maybe 30 degrees at kickoff, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. There's always a chance there's more winds. So that would be a good game to run the ball. But, we'll see what happens. But hopefully the winds are not that high. But it's going to be super, super cold. So it's not going to be great. I think 15 for the temperature at night. So, the whole day it's just going to be freezing cold.
Yeah. So all-time record for the Eagles and Commanders, 89, 86, and 5. Sorry, it's funny. There's always different sites that tell you different things.
I know.
This one says 89, 85, and 5, so let's ride with that. But this one over here says 89, 86, and 6, so you never really know the truth of it all. But, yeah, so we played them earlier this year, of course, like we talked about, and we kind of destroyed them, dominated them. I know the game at the end, the score seemed closer than what it was. We only ended up winning by 8 because they scored a touchdown in the waving last 30 seconds, I think.
Yeah, they scored very late in the game. We're able to do the onside kick and all that stuff.
Yeah, 31 seconds they scored a touchdown to Zach Ertz, of course, in his homecoming touchdown.
But it was a close game throughout, if you remember. The first half was close.
Yeah.
Late into the third quarter was still a real close game.
Yeah.
until Barkley broke two big runs and
scored
2 times there.
Yeah, looking at stats from that game, one of Hurts' really good games this season, 18 for 28, 221 yards. Didn't throw any touchdowns, but didn't throw any picks either. And then Saquon Barkley, that was one of his big games, 26 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then Hurts also had 10 carries for 39 yards and a rushing touchdown.
I think Barkley had like 50 yards receiving, too, in that game, right?
I have it listed on here. Yeah, Saquon, 2 for 52.
So, I mean, that's over 200 yards of offense, right? Yeah. Or close to it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big game they talked about where it was like, oh, man, that was the kind of the beginning of his MVP push.
Right.
I know it's kind of started to come down to the close here. We'll see what happens.
One game. If he had ran for 150 last week, they would have,
Yeah, well, I think it's more so just how good Josh Allen is doing. There we go. Little technical issues, sorry.
Right here. Is it here?
Yeah. And we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. A little technical difficulties going on there. Dad, who do you have as your player to watch going into this game?
I believe I told you it was going to be Quinyon Mitchell. Yep. He's been making a little bit of getting a name for himself, I think, this season. This could really solidify him getting, Pro Bowl, All-Pro type thing. So I can't imagine nobody knows his name yet if they're not across the country because he's had a few high-profile games. He shut down some big-time receivers. But this would do it. Like, this is really his last chance, maybe this week and next week, because, then we'd start playing the Giants, and they don't really have the big thing going on. But, if he could shut down McLaurin this week, I think it'd be huge.
Yeah.
I'm looking for him to do well.
Weird rookie season for Quinyon, as we kind of talk about. He's having such a great season, just locking down all these top wide receivers. Before the bye, he was targeted like an average of 7 times. Since then, he's targeted like 3 or something like 3.4, something like that per game. And it's just, man, I think it's a bummer that he was dropping picks earlier this season because now there's just no chance because they're not throwing it his way. They're scared. You know what I mean? Like,
it's funny too because you can't say he really hasn't had a drop or even a chance for an interception really in the last 3 or 4 games.
I would agree. Yeah, no, it just hasn't come because they just don't want to throw it his way. But yeah, it's been really great to see him grow. I mean, with Cooper DeJean too, but Quinyon especially.
Just a shutdown corner.
Just a shutdown corner, and just it's so refreshing to have. It feels like with Slay, he always had some really great seasons and picks and everything like that, but he never really felt like a true shutdown. It was more so he made a lot of good plays, and he would give up some here, but Quinyon just feels like a complete.
Well, 25 Slay's career, I think. I mean, he's really giving Slay an opportunity to kind of play the way he wants to play. He doesn't have to worry about it being all on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He can get in there. He made great play last week.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about covering the number 1 receiver all the time.
Exactly.
Because Quinyon can do it. You know what I mean? And if that guy goes in the slot, Cooper can do it.
That's right.
Like, there's just so much less pressure on really all the defenders.
It's been amazing to watch how this defense just is getting better and better every week. It's in my lifetime, I've never seen that. So it's really enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take that and roll into the matchups for the defense. We'll start with that. So this Washington team rated as 3rd best running offense in the league. Now that is really behind Brian Robinson. I almost said Bijan Robinson.
Right.
Brian Robinson, who's had himself a really good season. 159 carries, 705 yards. Missed a few games here and there. Got a little bit banged up here and there. 8 touchdowns for him, though, and no fumbles. I mean, he's had a really good season, or strong season, I should say. And he's a good running back. And, I'll also point out the fact that Jayden Daniels, he also is a runner.
Yeah, he definitely adds to their running, just like Hurts does to our team.
I mean, this season, he's got almost 700 rushing yards. So he has almost as many rushing yards as his starting running back. They will be without Austin Eckler. That's important to mention in this game because last game, he had a great game against us, 8 catches for 89 yards to go along with just 2 carries for 7 yards.
Not much in the rushing thing, but
no.
Yeah, he was all over he kind of hurt us, I'd say.
Early on, he's the reason they scored that touchdown to kind of go above us 10-3, 10-7, whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was really the biggest part of that because he had a bunch of huge receiving.
Big gainer. He had that one big gainer on the side.
Yeah. So the guy to watch for this week in the running back field is Brian Robinson. And, of course, Jayden Daniels can beat you with his legs. And he can also beat you with his arms. Now, they're only the 16th passing offense going against our defense. So middle of the pack, but they do have Terry McLaurin who has had a fantastic season now. Of course, we mentioned before, he did get locked up against Quignon last time. He only had one catch for 10 yards, and I don't think they targeted him when he was playing against Quignon. But on the season, 68 receptions, 969 yards, 11 touchdowns, having a really good season as well. He's a great player. I mean, if you had to do a ranking of wide receivers in the NFC, it's top 5, I think. You know what I mean? Maybe, in the NFL, it's hard because there's, cross division. But if you did NFC, top 5, top 4, a lot of great players a lot of great receivers in the NFC.
This game's going to be like the same as the Ravens game, where we kind of have to control Daniels in the pocket, kind of like we did with Jackson. And same thing downfield. Don't let him get any time. Let's just make him uncomfortable in the pocket, and I think that's really going to help a lot.
Definitely.
And I say it every week, we need some interceptions, but
it just doesn't come. Well, it's funny.
Not happening.
I think it's just crazy to think, we don't have a single cornerback with interception this year. And the safeties each have 3, I believe.
Yes. And CJG.
Linebackers each have 1.
Right.
So, only 8 interceptions on the season. But for the top defense, you're just like, man, they know how to get off the field. For our defense, we're ranked second in third down percentage, 34.1% of the time people get it against us.
Right.
That's
very low.
Very, very low.
League average got to be 40 something.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, they're 22nd with 40.9 over in Washington. So a little bit better than that is the league average.
High 30s.
Yes, yeah, but man, it's crazy to think. First in total yards, first in passing yards, 7th against the run, and we were better against the run until the Ravens game. And the garbage time kind of messed everything up.
Yeah.
But tied for first in points and second and third down percentage. This defense is unbelievable. It's shock to watch, but they are just so good.
And in the cold weather, that's going to make some changes too as far as how the ball's thrown.
Yeah, definitely.
Things like that. So hopefully we can get some sack fumbles going. And, it's been a while since we had any of those too. So be nice to see. But, the defensive line has been incredible the last few weeks. Not really getting the numbers as far as sacks go, but definitely pressuring quarterbacks, making them feel uncomfortable back there.
Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat have really, they continue to go on. There hasn't been any descent. It's all been ascending for those defensive players.
Sweaty last year kind of had a drop off there towards the end of the season. So
up to 8 sacks now. Nolan Smith 5.5.
Definitely want to get him 10 at least.
Big deal getting Bryce Huff possibly back this week. He is off they opened up his practice window, and he's a limited participant. We'll see. He might be waiting until next week. But that's going to be a big boost. I know he's been a disappointment this year. That's no doubt. He's one of our highest paid players on defense, and he only has 2.5 sacks. But it seemed like towards the end, before his injury, he was starting to get right. He was starting to figure things out.
It seemed like
and
he's getting more quarterback hits.
It's all about ascending. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's all about ascending. Exactly. It's all about going uphill. And if he can come back and he can give you, third pass rusher, a sack here and there. that's you don't want that for next year when you got a big money guy. We're going to want more from him. But for now, we'll take what we can get, and I think that would be great.
Well, if he can kind of find his footing from last season, where he had 10 sacks, I think, with the Jets. Hopefully, he can help and also maybe give some rest to maybe some of the other guys on certain downs, things like that. So, but he's going to be more of a third down guy anyway. Strictly pass rush type guy.
He is,
But still, we need that because, you got Nolan Smith. He's pushing players all around the field like last week. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Sweat was playing great too. And, of course, the interior linemen were amazing. So hopefully he can fit right in like he never missed a step and continue because I think the few weeks before he got injured, you said he had a few sacks.
Yeah, 2.5 sacks in the first couple of weeks and everything. But right before he got injured, kind of started figuring it out. Yeah. Let's get into the offensive matchup. So big one on the board, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith versus Marshawn Lattimore. Now Lattimore, I believe he used to follow the number 1 receiver. I don't know if they're really set on one side though. But this guy's been one of the best corners since he's entered the league. Drafted in 2017, 11th overall, defensive rookie player of the year, and then he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. No All-Pros, surprisingly. I was kind of surprised to see that.
Right.
But 4-time Pro Bowler, he was on the All-Rookie team. He's been really great since he entered the league. 15 interceptions, 5 in his first year, and then 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. So kind of dropped here and there, but this is the first time he'll be playing against us this year because he was not playing in the Commanders game. He may have been playing in the Saints game.
I think he was. I believe you're talking about it. But...
So, then this will be his first time playing with the Commanders this year against us. So that's funny. It's too bad he didn't play the first game. He would have played against us 3 times. But Yeah, this would be a big deal for him. Going up against him, he's still a top corner. He's still really good. But got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You feel pretty good about that, right, Dad?
Especially the way it looked last week. I mean, it just seemed to, I don't know, mature or something. And the play calling, just the way they drew it up last week. I mean, you knew that the Steelers were trying to stop us from running the ball. So I think Jayden was picking up on them, kind of stacking the box a little bit, and he just had his way with them. And it's funny because we drove that last drive at the end of the game there. We could have put up another 7 on them easy. So
definitely.
You and I were talking about blowouts versus just dominating the team, and we could have had another 3 or 7 easily in that game if we wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. But it's all about running. At
that point, the game.
It's about controlling the clock, and it was unbelievable. But next matchup, I have Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson versus Dante Fowler, Frankie Louvu. Frankie Louvu, I think, had 2 sacks against Hurts earlier this year. Dante Fowler, I don't remember if he had a sack or not, but he's had a pretty good season. 8 sacks on the year, I think.
Oh, wow.
Frankie Louvu maybe hovering around 5 or 6. Let me see if I pull that up real quick. But these are both pretty good guys. Not all pro level, but they are pretty good.
Not TJ Watt or Myles Garrett types, but
Frankie Louvu, 8 sacks for Louvu.
That's a lot.
And who was the other name I said? Yeah, Dante Fowler.
Right.
Should have had that ready. Sorry about that. Dante Fowler, 8.5. So I mean, our leading sack guy has 8. So I mean, they got more than him. So
they probably got fat on the Giants or something.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah. But no, they're both pretty good players, and I mean, this is where you're thankful that we have 2 of the greatest offensive tackles in the NFL right now. Definitely the best left tackle and top 2 or 3 right tackle. I mean, they're just unbelievable. And this is where you're really thankful for it.
I think it's a good time to mention that. If you haven't done it yet, go out there and vote in the Pro Bowl. Get our guys in the Pro Bowl. Go through all the guys. You vote for who you need to, but just go check it out and do it. So
we'll talk a little bit more about the Pro Bowl later in this pod. I got a list here going, but
sounds good.
Next thing I want to mention the run game. So like we mentioned. The run game for the offense. I'm sorry, the run game for us. Big thing, the Washington Commanders, 10th in the total defense, 10th in total yards defense. Pretty good. So top 10. Right. But rushing yards, they're tied for 24th. So they are really bad against the run. They're really good against the pass. So you're going to see probably a pretty, run-heavy game here, it seems like, which, I'm totally okay with that, as always. Maybe push Saquon back into the MVP race, but yeah, so I think this will be a run-heavy game. Probably not as much passing as last week. However, I wouldn't expect them to go completely away from that because
just how they got it clicking last week. I mean, stay with that. Stay with the momentum. It was amazing.
Absolutely. But I hope to see a lot of run game this week. Saquon 1688 yards, 1,688 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5.92 average. Dropped a little bit. His average dropped, so we got to get that back up. And
over 1,800 this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there.
Get close.
I'd like to hit the 2,000. I mean, I feel like you have to.
If you get 1,800, 1,850 this week, then you can kind of because we don't know what's going to how it's going to work. But obviously want to rest a little bit. But
it all depends how the opportunity for the number 1 seed shakes out. Exactly. But let's talk about some injuries going into the game. So, kind of mentioned, good news for us. Really not. Much on the injury report. Landon Dickerson, he didn't practice yesterday, did practice today on Thursday. He was a limited participant, so we really hope to see him back.
He is a knee, right?
Correct. Yeah, he is. It was listed as knee/rest, so it might not be too real, but he's integral to the running. To the run game. He's unbelievable.
I saw a clip of him today on the field, and he was throwing the medicine ball over his head.
Okay.
So I mean, that tells you something. He wasn't hobbled.
Other than that, not much else going on. Sidney Brown still in the concussion protocol, but he was limited. And then the rest of the guys kind of listed as rest. A.J. Brown's knee and rest. Devontae Smith's back and rest. I mean, it's mostly just kind of, resting for the week. It's big game.
Saquon, okay.
Yeah, Saquon was listed as rest. Did not participate Wednesday, and he was a full participant today. So, I mean, it's just kind of how it is.
I was just concerned because he took that shot he took in the lower leg down by the ankle. It was kind of a hard chip shot, and did upend him.
It was tough.
So, it was a bad hit.
Yeah. On the Commanders side of things, 2 players that it looks like they're probably not going to be playing. Zach Ertz, unfortunately, got a concussion. He might not be able to beat the protocol coming back. It's so hard to come back in a week. Right. So he didn't participate, and it doesn't seem like he will. And then Jeremy Chin, one of their safeties, I think we talked about him on this pod before, a guy that I kind of wanted us to draft back in 2020, I think. Yeah, I think I wanted them to draft him instead of Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
I think that was the same year.
Wow.
We drafted Rager. I wanted Jefferson. We drafted Hurts. I wanted Chin.
Right.
Jeremy Chin, yeah, got a concussion, so possibly same thing as Hurts or Zach Ertz. Might not be coming back just because it's hard to beat that concussion protocol. But for the most part, they're all limited participant, kind of just taking it easy. It seems like Luke McCaffrey, Dante Fowler, Terry McLaurin. Frankie Louvu, just kind of all listed as rest, similar to us. So
Louvu, I heard he might not play in one of the podcasts. I think I was listening to a crossover pod. So it's the Locked On Philly Locked On Commanders. They had mentioned him that he was maybe not playing, but who knows?
How dare you promote another podcast?
I'm just saying.
I think. Well, let me go ahead and unpromote them. I think they're very wrong because listed on here it says NIR, which is not injury related. So I don't think he's injured at all. I think it just has to do with the resting part of it. So I don't know. I think that terrible podcast is completely wrong.
Probably recorded yesterday too. So
that's possible.
That's that whole Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. It really makes it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And then that's everything with the injuries. As we continue on, we'd like to remind you all to like and subscribe and comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on your favorite streaming podcast site, please like and subscribe there, or rate and subscribe, I should say. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl, Dad. So obviously the Pro Bowl's in high swing. I voted 30 times already for all Eagles and everything like that.
Right.
I kind of want to talk about some of the chances for some of our team. Some of our players to go to the Pro Bowl this year. So I'm going to list them, and maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how about it, actually? On a scale of 1 to 10, you go ahead and tell me what their chances are to make the Pro Bowl, 10 being the highest.
10, okay.
Why would 10 be the lowest?
I don't know.
Look, 10 is the highest number, right? I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, and I'll say that, and you say what's their chances to make the Pro Bowl. So, number 1, Saquon Barkley.
Well, it's easy. That's a 10.
It's a 10.
He's a lot.
If he doesn't make the Pro Bowl, then I would say the Pro Bowl.
I mean, he's also all pro. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if he doesn't make the Pro Bowl is it's just not even real. But Jalen Hurts.
5, maybe.
So I'm thinking
I'm not as high on him as some people are.
I'm thinking a 6 there. Now I know I do have some bias, but when I did my non-biased Pro Bowl voting, where I try to put teams aside, I vote for who I think should go, and I was doing 3 quarterbacks from each conference. And when I did the NFC, I was like, well, I think it's Jalen, and I did Jared Goff. I think I did Baker Mayfield. And then I'm like, I think it's Jalen. 32 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions, maybe 6 total turnovers with fumbles, 7 total turnovers with fumbles. But yeah, 104.5 QB rating, 3,481 total yards. I'm like,
yards to me is one of the biggest things.
Yards to me is the worst thing. I hate yards.
Right.
I hate anything with yards. So you could throw a 5-yard check down and it goes for 95.
True.
That's not fair. However, I think one that's kind of creeping up on the board again for me is Sam Darnold. 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and 3,720 yards. I mean, he's playing really well. But, yeah, I think in the NFC side, it's Goff. I can't say Geno. He's got 13 picks.
Geno's played bad the last 3 or 4 weeks, too, now.
The problem with Mayfield, the kind of reason I want to put Hurts over Mayfield is same QB rating. Mayfield has 3 more total touchdowns, but he does have 14 interceptions. I mean, that is a lot of interceptions. Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford might be a competition, Brock Purdy, but I think Hurts, I'm going to give him a 6 or a 7 because I think he does have a chance. Now, obviously, you talk about, if someone doesn't go, he gets named to it. There's alternates, all that sort of stuff.
Look at win-loss record, too, for me, for a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the guy. He's the field general. He's the one that's leading you to wins.
Yeah.
If you're 6 and 8, I don't see how you could be voted to the Pro Bowl as a quarterback. Now, if you're a defensive end, that's different. But quarterback definitely takes wins into percent takes on into account, and I think completion percentage. But these ratings and things, I can't even look at it because I don't know what they're talking about. To me, it's all game.
Yep. All right, next I got A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown, he's probably an 8.
I 100% agree. I was going to say an 8.
I mean, there's a few guys that CD, and you got Jefferson, you got Puka, you got there's like 5 guys. I mean, he's definitely up there.
I would say I think I just looked at kind of some of the stats, and I would say unless something changes, I think I'm going to put it down to a 6 because in the NFC side, you got Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin, 970 yards and 11 touchdowns.
And he did miss a few games.
That's the problem with AJ. He did miss 3 games.
A few big games here in the next few weeks.
Sure, no, it's completely true. But yeah, AJ did miss 2 games. The 2 games we lost, so maybe that helps him. But 946 yards, only 5 touchdowns. I think it's probably pretty unlikely.
Change quick.
Pretty unlikely that he gets in there. But next, I got Lane Johnson.
10.
I agree. I feel like with
offensive line, best rushing, most rushing yards, most rushing touchdowns, maybe with Hurts and him in there.
I would assume so. I mean, I have to.
Hurts is 14 rushing touchdowns. He's got 8, I think.
Barkley's got 11.
11, and that's not going to end in the next 3 weeks. So
yeah, I would say Lane's at 10. Number 1, offensive line is off so much of reputation, and he has the reputation.
It's that PFF. He's got to be top lineman 2 or 3. Right? PFF. I don't know if he is, but
so I think reputation, but also the play alone, the rushing yards. I mean, he's the captain of the offensive line. That's kind of how it is. I know the center should be, but that's who he is.
Top 3 offensive line if you want to play that game.
Top 3, and they ain't 3.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, they throw Detroit in there and a few other teams, but.
Next one here, I got Jordan Mailata. What do you think there?
I think it's his turn to get an All-Pro, and I think he's going to be first-team All-Pro myself.
Okay.
He's been amazing this year.
What about Pro Bowl?
Oh, Pro Bowl, yeah.
This is all Pro Bowl. We're not doing all Pro.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
Every year we're going to do our All Pro teams
because All Pro is so much harder to make because that takes both conferences in. But I think he's an All Pro this year.
All Pro is harder to make because you only do 2 guys on that position.
The whole conference.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pro Bowl,
not in the whole conference, the NFL.
That's what I mean. Both conferences. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Mailata, what number?
10.
You think so?
Oh, for Pro Bowl, yes.
I think I'm going to say 8. He did miss 4 games. And I think that hurts him, unfortunately. But, I mean, I know the fan votes don't matter as much as the player and coach votes, and hopefully that's what matters the most. But I would say an 8 just because he did miss those games. But he's the best left tackle in football. There's not even really a conversation to be had.
I agree.
And it's the greatest story ever.
And he gets these, in some of the games that we've had, which are a lot of national televised games, they focus on him too at times. And you just see him blasting guys out of the way.
Yeah.
And with the way we run the ball, I mean, that's how you got to take into account how many yards does your team run for.
Yeah.
So
other offensive line. I'm just going O line here. Landon Dickerson.
I would say he's probably a 6 or 7. He's been there before. He's a 2-timer. So
I was going to say
9. He's a namesake. They know his name.
I was going to say 9 because he is. Yeah, he's been there. He's been there his rookie year, his rookie year he didn't play too much. No, his second year and his third year, his 2 years of full starting. So I think he's at 8 or 9.
He's the one that made the play downfield in that one game, right? Wasn't that him?
No, it's Cam Jurgens. You're not good at this, are you? You're always on the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think Cam Jurgens has a real big shot to make it. But I do. I think I don't.
A huge part of
the
offensive line.
I don't think Mekhi Becton has a big chance to make it either.
Only because he's kind of a story, and they do talk about him a lot.
It's true. It's possible.
And he's, he went from a number 1 pick tackle. They moved him over to guard. Team had given up on him, and he comes in and he's playing at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really high level.
Yep. All right, let's go over to the defensive side. So scale 1 to 10, if you think you're making it or not. Chances to make it. Zach Bond.
Zach Bond's going to be a first-team Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro.
He's 10.
Definitely 10.
I 100% agree.
Definitely.
Right now, he's the best linebacker in football.
He gets so much pub. I mean, which is a good thing because he's been playing amazing.
Yeah. No, he's definitely the best linebacker in football. There's no doubt about that. He's playing out of his mind.
He is.
He's been
incredible. It's a shame, too, because he's overshadowing Nakobe.
It's a bummer
because he won't make
it either. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I don't think both of them will make it. What about Colton Nakobe? What are his odds to make it?
6. And there's no slight on him. I'm just saying.
I agree. It's unfortunate.
Bond has been just such a dominant. Bond has been he's overshadowing him. Unfortunately, it's a shame. But
let's go to Jalen Carter.
Well, he's a top. Yeah, he's a 10.
10, I agree.
He's an 11, really. I mean, if you're watching football, by now it's been taking weeks for them to get that. For his name to rise to the top, but he's amazing this year.
Yeah, 100% agree. You could argue Chris Jones, but I think Jalen Carter might be the best defensive tackle in football. The sack numbers aren't always there. He's got 4.5 on the season, but if you watch an Eagles game, if you watch football, if you watch highlights, you would see on the film that even though he's a knucklehead and slaps guys in the face,
he's nasty.
He is by far one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and quite possibly one of the best I've seen in my lifetime. I mean, I saw some great ones in Fletcher, and I saw Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. I mean,
Right.
Geno Atkins, Atkins, out of Cincinnati. Great players altogether. Jalen Carter is up there already with one. I mean, he's unbelievable.
He's double teamed on every single snap. True. You can't say that about many other linemen.
It's also held on every single snap.
Yeah.
Next one, Quinyon Mitchell.
That's a funny one because I personally think he should be up at an 8 or 9, but because he doesn't have the interceptions and that's really what it's based on, I would say he's probably got a 7 or 8, but he's definitely going to get some recognition at the season. If it's not Pro Bowl, it's definitely going to be Rookie of the Year, in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah. No, he's unbelievable. It's a bummer that he, like we said earlier in the season, he didn't get his interceptions because now they don't throw it his way. They're too scared. Yeah. And it's just they think it's going to be an incompletion automatically. But, I want to say the same as you. It should be 9 or 10, but it's probably a 6. Just because rookies, it's hard. If to be a rookie to go to the Pro Bowl like Marshawn Lattimore, 5 interceptions. You got to have the Marcus Peters. He had 8 interceptions. Sauce Gardner, I think he only had 2, but he had the biggest name coming out of college ever. But
Quinyon's from a small college. He was true. Obviously, he was a big name coming in the draft, so a lot of people knew about him. We snagged him early, and we're lucky we got him. But he's been incredible. I think he's been the best corner in the league as far as rookies go, and easily. Yeah.
It's too bad that he doesn't have a name like Sauce. You know what I mean? Because Sauce Gardner got in because right away it's like, oh, this guy, he's just got the name. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I kind of thought Kool-Aid was going to have the same effect. Kool-Aid McKinstry was like, once he comes in, he's going to be considered one of the best because he's got an awesome name.
Right.
It's just so funny. But and then on the backside, I'm throwing both of these at you. C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. So C.J. Gardner-Johnson go 1 to 10.
I would say probably a 7 or 8. He's got the interceptions,
but there's sexier picks out there.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, 7 interceptions. I'm sorry. I agree. 3 interceptions. Yeah. I agree with 7. I meant to say sorry. I agree with 7. He's up there. He's definitely playing a lot better. Earlier this year, it seemed like he was having a tough time.
Boy, we thought, yeah.
Yeah, now I think he's been playing really great. I think he's definitely kind of the vocal leader of the defense. I mean, he gets on that sideline and he gets impassioned and he gets speech and he gets it going.
He's also one of the best hitters.
Oh, he makes tackles. He makes huge hits.
Goes back to Dawkins almost, where he just comes up and he'll make a pop. The only problem I always worry about him is he does that stand over the thing guy, and you're like, get away, but boy, he's played some hits this year. 10 or 15 really good pops, man.
Which is a surprise because this guy's he's only 5'11", and listed and weighs 210 pounds. I mean, 210's a pretty big size, but what was Brian Dawkins, 230?
He was a little bit bigger, I think.
235. I mean, he was huge. He was also 6 foot 1, 6 foot 2. He was a big dude as well. So when you see a guy like Dawkins doing it at 6 foot, only listed at 209, that's completely incorrect.
So how long do we have CJ signed for?
Just this year?
I think 3 years.
Well, yeah, I hope so. Because man, he like you say, he kind of wasn't great early, but the whole D wasn't really good early. Yeah, man. Since then, he's been able to play with house money and just play like crazy and just go crazy for the ball. It's been amazing to watch. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is a 3-year contract. I don't know the exact details and salary, but he is a 3-year contract,
smart.
Which is great. Smart. Yep. And then let's go Reed Blankenship. I mentioned him. 1 to 10.
Reed's funny. I'd say probably a 6 or 7. Not a big name. He's only been around for a year or two. He always gets the picks. Hasn't had any really for about 8 weeks now.
He's got 3 interceptions, but it has been.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit.
But he's our ball hawk when nobody else is getting the ball. Kind of missed a game or two, right, with the injury.
Yeah, and a concussion, and he was out for this injury.
Yeah, but I think he's a huge part of the defense. And again, we would say it all the time. He's only played 15 games, 18 games now in his career, maybe. He really hasn't got many.
He's played
he hasn't really got in.
It's his 3rd season in the NFL, Dad. I mean,
but he's missed. He didn't play a lot his first year.
That's a little bit tough sometimes too. I'm pretty sure he started 8 games his rookie year. Now I have to look it up.
8 or 6.
I have to look it up. Hold on.
He was 6.
He missed a couple this year, so that would put it at 12 games, 18, and then whatever he did last year. But
Let me see.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
No, but sorry, I'll go ahead and say I agree. I do agree with 6 or 7. Name's not that big, even though he does get
there with the name though.
No, he absolutely is. Yeah. He's making a name for himself as the closer type of guy. Yeah. 38 games in his career, 32 starts. So yeah, that's quite a lot now.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And with what? Man, you said 18. That's hilarious. 18. Yeah. And he's got 7 interceptions in those. Yeah, 3 this year. His 17 game average is 3 interceptions. Okay. So. Yeah, no, it's good. He's still young. He's only 25 years old.
Oh, he had an interception on his first play in the NFL. So
one of them, yeah, that was crazy against Rodgers. He never threw picks back then. But yeah, Reed Blankenship, I agree, 6 or 7. Continues making a name for himself, but it's hard. We always talk about the Pro Bowls. It's really hard to get in for the first time when you don't get 9 interceptions. Especially for defensive backs, you need safeties, corners. Yeah. Jamal Adams. He hits and sacks and this and if playing steady and playing well is good, but they like numbers. It's
just playing on a top defense doesn't necessarily get you in there either. You got to have the numbers, and it's just
this might be a team that might be the top defense and only get 2 Pro Bowlers.
That's okay. That means you're going to re-sign them all.
To me, there's 2 locks, Bond and Carter.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're like, well, this might be a top overall defense that doesn't get made Pro Bowlers.
It's just funny. A few more sacks, we might get a little.
Yeah, I guess
that maybe.
We could say him
because you're on that top defense.
Yeah. The problem with the Pro Bowl votes is I don't know when they pull the players and coaches. I don't know.
Right. And when does it end? Do you still have another couple weeks, or is this it?
I think I should have looked it up. I think I just had it there. Oh, here we go. I think it says you can vote until maybe December 27th or something like that.
There's a few games left.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time of voting area, but. Yeah, we'll see. We try not to care about the Pro Bowl and everything, but of course,
it's been a popularity contest forever. Now that the way they do it, it's a little bit better, I think, with the players voting or weighted or everything. But yeah, I think they kind of get it right more than they don't. So
yeah, no, it's true. It's difficult to do, but it's still fun when you still want your guys to go,
and you still want to vote. So get out there and vote. So.
Get out there and vote.
Yeah,
you have the right to vote now.
Well, they say Bond is the leading vote linebacker
in the NFL
as we sit right now. So
yep.
Let's go add to it.
Definitely. All right, let's go ahead and get into some other games of the weekend. So a lot of big games, big game weekend. There's a game going on right now. Oh, my gosh. Chargers are up 34-24.
Wow.
When we came up here, they were 24-19.
That's right.
They were losing.
That's right.
They're at 34-24.
Wow.
And we're going to miss the game. Oh, they just threw a touchdown. Wow.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I'm stunned. I didn't know.
Denver was doing so well.
Yeah, that's good. I'm playing against Denver. That's good right. in fantasy. Okay, let's get into the Saturday games. Now, neither one of these are NFC. They're both AFC games, but I wanted to talk about one of them. Number one, because they're the 2 last teams we played, the Steelers and the the Panthers. Okay, so
right.
They're 2 of the last 3 games.
Right.
The Steelers and the Ravens playing in Baltimore. Huge game. This is kind of going to come down to the division. I believe Baltimore is 9-5. Yep, and the Steelers is 10-4. Right. So they're starting to kind of fight.
Got the leg up.
They're starting to fight for the division, really coming to the end here. What's your thoughts on that game?
Well, I think I heard that the last 9 games, Pittsburgh's 8-1 versus Baltimore, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm almost certain that's correct. So, I remember when I heard it, I kind of went, really? That much? So, yeah. I think Baltimore's the better team, but Pittsburgh just for some reason has their number in the last couple of years.
Well, I know the big thing that they talk about is kind of like Lamar. Lamar is 1-4 against the Steelers, so it makes sense that you say that.
He's missed some games.
I'm looking. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's 8-1. The Steelers are 8-1.
Yeah. So
the last
Baltimore's 1-9 versus Pittsburgh in the last 5 years.
Wow.
That's 10. That's almost 5 years. 5 years.
That makes sense. Yeah. No, that's crazy. Wow.
And if you think about it, Pittsburgh was not running with
Pittsburgh was bad.
Yeah,
at some points during that with Pickett, our backup,
right,
and Lamar, and they had the other guys had Lamar. Right. So you're kind of that is a stun. I'm kind of stunned.
Yeah, when I heard that, I didn't think I didn't believe it at first, and then when they talked about it, I went, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, looking forward to that game. That'll be played 2:30 on Saturday. The next game I want to talk about, of course, on Saturday as well. Houston Texans going to play the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason I want to talk about this one real quick is because Mahomes has been hurt. Now, he probably will play because it's Mahomes. But if he doesn't play, the backup of the Kansas City Chiefs is Carson Wentz.
Yes.
And wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It would be kind of fun if I could watch Carson Wentz play some football on Saturday.
I don't know how well Houston has been in the last few weeks. I know early on, and they're winning the division, I believe, and I think they've already clinched the playoffs. I think.
I'm not too sure, but I would think so.
If they don't play with Mahomes, and really with Mahomes, Kansas City really has not been a top team in the last month or two.
Yeah.
So it might be a really good game, or it might be just a blowout, like we're always used to seeing. But
so the Texans beat the Dolphins pretty bad on Sunday. Beat the Jaguars the week before, but only by 3. Lost to the Titans. That was that surprising game we couldn't believe.
Right.
And then before that, they destroyed the Cowboys, and then they lost to the Lions in that Jared Goff 5-interception game.
Another game they should have won.
Yeah, I know. I don't think the Texans are really top tier right now, but still, I think it'll be a fun game.
It's Stroud, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
he can be really good and he can be really bad. So
100% agree. Let's go to the Giants-Falcons. So big story here. Falcons going to be starting Michael Penix.
Right.
My friend Ben, who I'm playing against in fantasy, is going to be starting Michael Penix on Sunday, so hopefully he does terrible.
Hopefully he has a few beers in the fridge.
Yeah. But other than that, aside from this game and this week, Michael Penix is a player I'm kind of interested in. I'd like to see kind of do well in the future. Obviously, they're sitting Kirk Cousins to play Michael Penix, which
$100 million guy.
Yeah, $90 million.
Unbelievable.
If this is the end of it, they paid him $90 million to win 7 games. That's just unbelievable. And it's crazy because I remember when they drafted Penix, we were at the bar and we were like, didn't they just sign that guy?
Yeah, they
just signed Kirk?
Yeah.
What
for like 4 years? For
Yeah,
160, I think it was.
That's the thing. It wasn't a 1 year, $20 million deal.
Right.
It was 4 year. It was, and we were like, Plus, not to mention Michael Penix. I'm pretty sure he's like 25 years old.
Oh wow!
He's been playing for a while. He had a lot of injuries in college, so he had a lot of eligibility.
Jeez.
And of course, when you go to college during COVID, there's an extra year of
eligibility.
He's 24,
right?
But he'll be 25 by next season. So in his first season starting, he'll be 25. So the thing was when they drafted him, it's like, well, if Kirk's here, if he was here 4 years, which doesn't always happen, but if he's here 2 years. Penix is 26.
Right.
What are you doing? That was crazy. But yeah, I'd like to see either team lose. Obviously, we hate the Giants. Would like to keep the Giants away from the number 1 pick as much as possible. Really don't want to deal with Shedeur Sanders in this division going forward, especially now that the Commanders have Jayden Daniels. I really don't want to see all that young talent. Pretty cool thing, actually. Tevin pointed it out to me at work. I didn't think about it, but if the Giants were to draft Shedeur Sanders, we wonder if this would be the first division in NFL history. All 4 quarterbacks are
Heisman.
I was going to say men of color. They're all black men,
Okay.
Which would be kind of incredible to think about.
Right.
I don't know Cowboys history with African American quarterbacks, but the Eagles, of course, most ever, maybe. I don't know if that's for sure, but feels like many times. So it'd be really interesting if that happened. But I'd really like to
that's true.
Let's keep Shedeur out of the division.
Yeah,
maybe they'll draft Cam Ward and still come true. But I don't want Shedeur.
Well, they definitely need a quarterback. So
no, definitely.
Whatever they do, they're going to trade up to get one anyway if they have to.
Next one, biggest really game aside from ours to watch this week. Lions at Bears. We're still in the running for that first seed. Need the Lions to lose again.
Yeah.
Would like the Vikings to lose at some point too. But the Lions going to Chicago. Chicago, we know 8-game losing streak. They're pretty bad. Yeah. But the thing you like to point out, is it a 9-game losing streak now? I don't even know. Yeah. You like to point out, at some point, you have to win. You don't lose every game. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Someone wins unless you're the 0-16 Lions.
But you're right.
But someone's
the odds are going to work, right?
Yes, and we talk about like the Lions are due for a loss. Now they lost to Buffalo, so that's kind of done. But with the Bears, it's like you end up winning at some point. So
the bounces go your way sometime,
and they almost pulled that off on Thanksgiving with that horrible snafu. But hopefully in Chicago, maybe in the cold, Lions, they're in a dome. Maybe this will be a little bit of a change. I don't know what the weather's like, but maybe this will be a little bit of a change. It'd be nice if we could see the Bears.
Separation, at least.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could see the Bears take that on and maybe give us a chance for the number 1 seed. But next thing, I'm going to skip past the Cardinals, Panthers. That's just really boring. Rams, Jets. Rams are really, really going for the late season push. Kind of funny because that team, that was like our biggest win of the season. It felt like. I think the Bengals we beat 37-17, but still against the Rams, it felt like, man, we just kind of destroyed them. But now they're 4th seed in the playoffs, and they might move up to the 3rd seed depending on what the Bucs do this week. And they're a good team. They're a scary team. They're a team I did not want in the playoffs. Yeah. They're a team I don't want to deal with in the playoffs.
They're getting hot at the right time.
Getting hot at the right time. And they're getting healthy at the right time.
That's true.
Yeah. Next thing, Vikings, Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks are a real team at all. We've talked about this.
Gino's going to play.
Is he hurt?
Yeah, he's
injured. Okay.
Hurt his ankle or something
last game.
Okay. I'll say this. Geno Smith, he's better than I expect, than I think he is. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely have underestimated. I'll admit that. He's much better than he's been made out to be, but he's not that good. You know what I mean?
Career resurgence.
Yeah, no, definitely. He was a comeback player of the year, I think, a few years ago, or maybe last year. But no, I just really think the Vikings are kind of a juggernaut with that defense. Their defense is really good, especially, even up in the running with ours.
Sam Darnold's been on. Just really on. He's been really good this year.
So, 2nd against the run. 29th against the pass, that defense. I thought they were a lot better, but they're actually not. Great goal line defense. They only let up 18 points a game, that's for sure. But, the Vikings, that's a team we kind of need to see lose, but also kind of win because you want them to beat the Lions in the last week of the season, but you also don't want the Vikings to get the number 1 seed. They're still in the running for that too. So you'd like to kind of stay there. Just stay there.
We'll see what happens. We'll be watching.
And then the next big one for us to watch, I guess I should say 2. Next big one on Sunday is going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Dallas against the Cowboys. Put a final nail in the coffin for the Cowboys' playoff hopes. They technically still have a chance, less than 1%. And you're like, all right, let's just go ahead and kill it now.
Let's see how they play,
But it'd be great to see Tampa Bay kill it in Dallas, you know what I mean? Because they've been horrible at home all season, so it'd be nice for them to just get destroyed in their own home. And then the last one is Monday night, Saints playing the Packers. Saints, I guess they still technically have a chance to make the playoffs too because they're in a bad division. But the Packers are also a really good team. I don't think the Packers don't have a chance at the number 1 seed, I don't think. But they may have still a possibility.
10-4, right?
Yeah, they might still have a chance to win the division. I don't think so. I don't think they had tiebreakers or anything like that because they're 10-4. The other guys are 12-2. So I don't think it works out that way. But I think they're still haven't clinched the playoffs though, so they're looking for a win to kind of put the playoff hopes. Or
they've really turned it around this year.
Definitely. Well, my friend, you got anything else?
Not really, no.
All righty, well, let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you're listening to your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Comment down below your prediction for the game, your prediction for the other games, and where do you think we're going this season. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.